How's it? This is Mundo, and super excited to tell you about this Soldano plugin by Neural DSP. And I'll tell you a little journey I had because it was operator error on my part. But I planned on buying the Soldano plugin, and I have bought it. I've paid full price for it, full disclosure. So before I actually paid for it, I got the trial version to make sure I liked it. Cool. So let me back up. In the 90s, I played through a Soldano SP-77. I never owned the SLO-100, but I'm very familiar with that sound. And I got into it because I heard Eddie Van Halen was playing through a Soldano, and I don't think it was the exact one I was playing through, the SP-77. But I got it. I played with it with a hard rock, hard funk group for a long time. And I put it through a Marshall 412 cab and hooked it up to it was a preamp, so I hooked it up to a power amp, and it was a killer sound. I didn't use any distortion but that amp, solos and rhythm, and it was killer. The problem I had for that gig, and we were a loud band, this was just even too loud for me. So and if you touched the volume knob just to hear it would just shoot up super loud, and it was just, I couldn't use it. So I brought it home and tried to use it, and it was just so loud, but the sound was killer. And so I eventually sold it, and I do regret selling that amp because it sounded great. So I was super excited when Neural DSP came out with the SLO-100, Soldano 100. Is it Super Lead Overdrive plugin? I love Neural DSP, and their plugins are great. I use them for, I'd say, at least 60-70% of my session work. So I got the trial version. You get 2 weeks trial version, and first time I turned it on is what you heard on that opening song, which I called SLO Sunday, because it was on a Sunday and it was the SLO. I had a blast. I'm going to show you what I did. I added no EQ other than from what the plugin was, and so I was kind of mixing as I went along. I was EQing this part to go with that part, and I'll show you what I mean. And then I made a bunch of patches and finished that little 60-minute song, put it out. So that video was done. I love the plugin. I bought it. And the next day I had a session to do, and I figured I'm going to use a Soldano on it. It didn't call for the Soldano, but I was going to force that plugin on the session. That's how much I loved it. And I went to install it on my computer after paying for it. It was unavailable to me, and in either way, it was like an iLock thing. It was like you didn't pay for it thing. It was like, I forgot the wording, but the codes that you need to put in, or I didn't have access to it. So I wrote to Neural DSP and emailed and asked them for some help. And this is where I really have to talk up Neural DSP. Their customer support was fantastic. They instantly got back to me, asked me to do this or that. We went back and forth. Nothing I was doing was working, and the problem was on my end with my login to their website, and also access to my iLock and all that good stuff. So they kept working with me. I had to stop. I had to go do that session, and so that took a few days, and I kind of kept my computer open for that session. So then I revisit this problem to try to fix it, and there's emails from Neural DSP like, did you get it fixed? How can we help? And we kept going round and round, and ultimately, like I said, it was user error, and we got it fixed. So the good thing is all those patches that I wrote are all there, and I'll kind of show you what I did. And but wow, what a great company, great plugins. I haven't heard their quad core yet. I've had people call me about that. Seems pretty good. We'll see. But here's the Soldano SLO-100 plugin, and I will tell you, it feels and sounds like the Soldano I had, just a little quieter. Well, let's just talk about the amp. This plugin has just one amp, and I will say right off the bat, and I'll show you what I mean, some of the skins change. So I really don't know what that means, if it was a special edition, this or that, or one of the guest artists who made presets got to do that. If you guys know what that's about, please tell me. But I will tell you about the amp. So right here, you have two channels, overdrive and normal. The normal is a great clean channel. I know everybody talks about the distortion from the Soldano, but I really do like the clean sounds you can get from it. It's kind of its own thing, super punchy as well. And what I dig is this bright switch right here. This is a treble boost. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with that. In fact, you'll notice down here this toggle for clean and crunch. The crunch, it's like another gain boost, and it just warms it up. It's more saturated. So if you had this treble boost on with the crunch, there's some pretty cool tones you can dial in. And if you see any of these knobs blacked out, then they're unavailable to you on this settings. Now the overdrive is the high gain amp that I have in my mind's ear. In my ear, I can hear that sound, and once you know it, you know it. And it's great, super punchy. It doesn't get that high end fizzy swarm of bees sound. So when you're playing real high or you're just oversaturated and having fun, it's still kind of balanced. So the presence knob, essential on this. You can scoop it or boost the presence. Once again, you notice that these aren't available because they're blacked out. So just hit this button. You got MIDI mappings. I've never ever used that. Tuner. And then this is kind of cool right over here. Sizing, you have small, medium, large. We're looking at the medium, excuse me, we're looking at the large view right now, but you can go fairly small, and you'll notice that's a great thing to work with when you have all your other windows up. Let's go back to large. All right, so this is Strat Room for the first sound I'm using, but I just wanted to see if I can find some of the skins that popped up. All right, that's not one. Let's go clean designer. Yeah, I'm lying, right? Pedal crunch. Check it out. Snake skin right there. And there was even a purple one. And I kind of like the purple one because a lot of Soldanos back then were purple. Let's go to right there. Can we find the purple? Can we find the purple? There we go, purple. To me, this looks like a Soldano as well. I wouldn't have minded if it stayed this way the whole time, but I get it. I get it. Anyway, yeah, let's move on, check out the sounds. Okay, here's my Logic session. So you can see I used, for all the guitar tracks, I used just the Soldano Neural DSP plugin, and also there is no EQ. I did EQ the bass because I was playing it. Yeah, so I panned everything, kind of mixed it as I went. I just wanted to see what the Soldano did, and I will also say I think the Soldano, in my case, it has a great clean sound, so I purposely wrote a little clean sound in this. So yeah, it's just stream of consciousness. I wrote this as I was going. The guitars took about 15, maybe 20 minutes. It's the bass and the drums that took forever because I don't know what I'm doing. That's what you hear. So if I just wanted to solo, Hurley is the name of my Ponce guitar after Elizabeth Hurley. So here's our amp, cabinet, front end effects, EQ. By the way, Neural's EQs are really good. A little bit does a lot, and then your back end effects, loop effects. You got a delay and a reverb. So pretty straightforward. The thing I will say about Neural is the patches that come with the amp plugins are, all of them are really usable. And so I start there, and then I tweak it for my own sounds, my own needs. I put my name in front of them after I change these factory patches or guest star patches, however they use. But there's my Strat Room. So for this first main sound, I used my Ponce Strat. And I did boost the presence up a bunch because I wanted it just to cut. I do this on a lot of 100-watt amps. I really back off on the bass. But this is just a normal sound. That's the pure sound. That sounded really good to me. I usually will make it a 58 with the Ribbon 121. That was nice. I moved things around till it sounded good to me. There you go. I had the bright on for that. So that's basically the main sound, and like I said, I just wanted a Strat sound. Here's your factory presets and your artist presets. So for the rhythm guitars, I just basically spread them to each side. Pebbles is my Solar guitar. I love that. And then the P90 Go Top Washburn. Real thin, real nasally, but if you put them together, and I know the bass is going to just fill it up with some love. Let's go back to the Solar guitar. So I use this patch here. Cool Uncle's leather jacket. Let's just try another factory, basic and thin. Let's do Boxy Rock. So like I said, Neural gives you some great presets to work with, and this by itself, it's kind of there, but in a mix to fill out a certain spectrum, frequency spectrum, this is a killer patch. I can already tell. Like I said, Soldano to me has a great clean sound. It's my understanding that Neural's cabinet design for the plugins are based off of IRs, so I always choose IRs over cab modeling. I like it. It speaks to me. It's great. Let's just take a listen to the solo, which you can't have this plugin and not have killer solo sounds, right? You have to have that chorus sound. If you use too much, it gets kind of, it might sound great, but it gets kind of thin and starts disappearing. For sustain. What do we do back here? It's very amp-like to me. Let's just look at some other patches. I'll go to my user patches. Kind of nasally. Like stuff like this, layer and thin. If you're making parts, that's awesome. Sweet lead. Here's another one. With all those effects kind of in my mixing hands, that's going to disappear. SLO lead. So there's just so much to work with. Like I said, on this plugin, I start with these great presets and just go from there. Hear it all together again. That's enough of that. Cool. So there's the plugin. It's awesome. I get a lot of sessions where I'm kind of asked for a 80s lead tone over this song, or like a heavy metal rhythm, 80s rhythm to put over this or that. And in my mind, in my mind's ear, it's a Soldano what I hear. So now it's awesome. I can tell you, having owned one, it's closest thing to the real deal in the virtual world. So yeah, thumb and pinky up for me. That's a shaka. Until next time, this is Mundo, and if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. Aloha.